Hey everybody, it's Mr. Hauser. Thanks for joining me. So today is a math lesson that's going to focus on shapes. We are going to look at one shape in particular that you're probably familiar with, but again, we want to look at what makes it so special, as well as trying to find it in the real world, because this shape, I'm sure, is all around you. So the focus of today is going to be squares. Squares are a very special shape, and you can see that I've drawn one right here. A square has four sides, but not only that, but all four sides are the exact same length. That means they go across. This one is the same length as the bottom one, and both of those are the same length as the ones that go up and down. So a square is a square, no matter if I tilt it to the side like this, or like this, it's still a square, okay? So don't be fooled thinking that the flat part has to be on the bottom every time. It doesn't. So what do we look for? Number one is that all four sides are the same length. The second thing is to look at what are called the angles. An angle is where the corners are, where two lines come together. And if you notice, they make sort of a straight up and down shape when I have it like this. What you can notice is that that angle and that angle, and that angle, and that angle are all the exact same size. There's not one that's more open, and there's not one that's more closed. They're all the same size. So that is what makes a square so special. All four sides are exactly the same length, and all four angles are the same. In fact, we call this angle a right angle. And a right angle means it goes straight up and down, and straight side by side, okay? And so it makes kind of a corner that's like in a box or in a square. Okay, squared corner. Now, if we take a look at other shapes that have four sides, we can see that this one, while it has every angle is the same, you can see that the sides are not all equal, which means the ones on the top and the bottom are longer than the ones on the side. This is not a square. In fact, this is a rectangle. And a square, believe it or not, is a special type of rectangle, but that's another story to begin with. On the bottom, you can see that this shape has four sides, and all the sides are the same. Except this one is not a square because the angles are not all the same. The angles, you can see that the angle on this end and on this end are a little more closed than the ones that are in the middle here and here. Those two angles are a little more open. So even if it's the same, even if all the sides are the same, the angles, if they're not the same, then it's not a square. In fact, this is called a rhombus. Can you say rhombus? It looks like a diamond, and we might call it a diamond out in the real world, but our math term for it is a rhombus. A rhombus means four equal sides, where the angles are not all the same, but they have two matching sets. So if we were to look at what makes a square, we can see that it falls into a group that is called quadrilaterals. Can you guys say quadrilaterals? No? Okay. A quadrilateral. When I think of quadrilateral, anything with quad is going to indicate four. And the way that I remember that is because I've learned enough Spanish to know that the number four in Spanish is cuatro. And cuatro is very similar to the beginning of the word quadrilateral. And so that is any shape that has four sides. Now, we might know a square. That is of one type of quadrilateral. Another type is a rectangle. But a rectangle, as we saw, is when the sides are not all the same size. We can see that another kind is a rhombus, which we looked at, which is where not all the angles are the same size. And then there are others that include a trapezoid, and those have a mixture of things that are not all the same. But a square is sort of like the perfect four-sided quadrilateral, because all four sides are the exact same size, and all four angles are the exact same size. All right? So we're going to look at a story today that has to do with squares. And in fact, it's called Square. If it looks familiar, it's because I read a story about Circle not too long ago, and it's written by Mac Barnett and illustrated by John Klassen. So this is going to be Square. As you can see, all four sides are the exact same length. All angles are open the exact same amount. That makes it a square. So, Square by Mac Barnett and John Klassen. This is Square. This is Square's secret cave. Every day, Square goes down into his cave and takes a block from the pile below the ground. See? Oh, that's on their Square. He pushes the block up and out of the cave. He brings the block to the pile at the top of the hill. This is his work. One day, while Square was doing his work, Circle floated by. Square, said Circle, you are a genius. I did not know you were a sculptor. Ah, yes, said Square. What is a sculptor? A sculptor shapes blocks into art, said Circle. Ah, yes, said Square. I see what you mean. But he did not really see what she meant. This is a wonderful sculpture, said Circle. It looks just like you. Square looked at his block. Yes, I suppose it is wonderful. Now, said Circle, you must do one of me. Oh, said Square, I will come back for it tomorrow. Goodbye, genius. Circle, said Square, I think I should tell you something. But she was already gone. Oh, dear, 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 said Square. He studied the block. I have to make this block look like Circle, he said. Circle is perfect, so I must make this perfect. Square got to work shaping the block. Oh, crumbs, said Square, this is not perfect. Oh, dirt, said Square, this is much worse. He went back to work. He worked and worked, and worked and worked. Ah, cried Square. He had carved the whole block away. There was nothing left. He was surrounded by rubble. Whatever is the opposite of perfect, that is what this is. I must stay up all night and figure this out. Square fell asleep. The next morning, Square woke up wet. He despaired. What have I done? I push blocks. I do not shape them. I am not a genius. Hello, genius, said Circle. I am early. Oh, dear, whispered Square. Are you finished? Asked Circle. Oh, yes, said Square. I am finished. Circle peered down. Oh, my, she said. It was beautiful. It was beguiling. It is perfect, said Circle. It is? asked Square. Yes, said Circle. You are a genius, said Circle. But was he really? Was he really? Maybe, maybe not. Nonetheless, he did make Circle happy by his creation. We can look at how water reflects images or makes it almost look like a mirror, because that's the point of this. That's what happens in this story, and makes Circle believe that Square had carved something to look just like him. But the idea here that we're connecting to today is that Square, with his perfect sides, all four the same length and all angles the same length, lets Circle believe that he was capable of creating, more perfect shapes, even though they were all just squares and not really circles. So, similar to last time, we've got a bunch of shapes over here. We're going to see if Zola can help find the squares in our group of toys. So, if you notice, there's a big square container in the middle. Zola, if you find any squares, put it in the container and we'll see if we get it right. For those of you that at home, look around at the toys and see if she's got them all right. See if you can find any squares out in our group of toys. Zola, you can start whenever you're ready. Ooh, a Post-it. And a book, but not a Vegemol. Ooh, a beanbag. And a bed. And a magnetic tile. And another magnetic tile. And a puzzle piece. Is that right? And a Lego. Can you flatten that Lego out so we can see that it's a square? There we go. Okay. Any others? A square. Nice. All right. And she took the puzzle piece out because that was not. Ooh, a little.
A cube.
A cube. Go ahead and put it down so we can see. All right, nice. Put it down so we can see it.
It's made out of little.
Nice. Now Desmond put a shape in there that was red and has 4 sides. Is that a square?
No.
Then why'd you put it in?
It's not a cat.
That's not a square?
That's a cat.
All right, that's a cat. So are there any other squares
I put a cat in there.
that we want to put into our bin? Or is that it?
No. This is
All right, before Desmond completely ruins that, we have a bunch of squares. So you can look around your house and in your toys to see if you can find some squares. Remember, squares aren't just any 4-sided shape, but they are the ones with 4 of the exact same length.
Daddy, ask your grown-ups to text Daddy if you find some.
Okay, thank you. Your participation was very valuable, Zola, but let's leave it at that. So if you do find any squares at home, then I'd love to see those. Remember, they can't just be any 4-sided figure, but they have to have 4 equal sides. Not only that, but they have to have 4 angles that are the exact same, which are called right angles. They go straight up and down and straight across, kind of like that. And so it frames, like a picture frame, it frames the rest of this shape. So look for those angles too, all right? I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys another time and we'll look at more shapes in the future. Bye.